Hi, my name is Dudley Rutherford, and I'm the senior pastor of a church called Shepherd of the Hills, and I'm out in Porter Ranch, California, which is kind of a suburb of Los Angeles, and I'm excited to share with you a little bit just about the burden of my heart. For the longest of times, I've just felt that the church in America, that we need to be more racially diverse. That is not something that just recently has happened. I'm kind of an old guy. It was clear back when I was in high school. I invited a young man who we played on the same basketball team, high school basketball team. I invited him to my church, which was basically an all-white church. And I remember the response when he walked in, just people kind of staring. And I remember thinking all the way back when I was in high school, if I ever become a pastor, if I ever lead a church, I'm going to do everything I possibly can to make sure that it's racially diverse. And so I've kind of lived that out for all these years. And now today, the church where I pastor is one of the most racially diverse churches in the country. The mayor of Los Angeles has actually, he has introduced me. He's talked about how this church is the most racially diverse church in Los Angeles. I'm thankful for that, but I know we still have a long ways to go. I know what a lot of people think across the country whenever we talk about that. They always say, well, Dudley, you live in Los Angeles and you live in a racially diverse area, and the area where I live is not racially diverse. And although I think there's some value to that line of reasoning, I don't think it's entirely accurate, because even in Los Angeles, that is very diverse, there's all kinds of churches that are still just one race. In fact, right across the street, literally, you could throw a rock just across the street, immediate across the street from this church is a church that's just all one race. Down the street, not too far from here, there's another church. It's just all one race. So even in Los Angeles, Sunday mornings, 10, 11 o'clock, it's the most segregated hour still today. And so what I believe that it takes, and what I want to share with you, is that it doesn't take much to diversify your church. We think we have a lot of excuses, a lot of reasons why it's impossible. It's not. It just takes a little bit of intentionality. It starts with the platform. You've got to diversify your platform. I believe that's one of the most important things you can do, so that when someone walks into your church, they look up and they see someone of color up on the stage. They think, hey, I'm welcome here. You have no idea how important that is. I want to go through these. We actually started a website most of you might be aware of. It's called Dream of Destiny, dreamofdestiny.com. And it's actually a website that's dedicated to help us as Christians, as leaders, to lead churches that are racially diverse. And we have what's called a 5-star program on there. And are you willing to do these 5 things? And the first one is to diversify the platform of your church. The second is to diversify your curriculum, that you look at your bulletin, you look at your website, you look at anything that your church prints. Might be a bulletin cover, might be a newsletter, might be advertisement, that anything that you do print-wise, that you would always make sure that there were different nationalities represented on your curriculum. The third thing is your board or your staff, that when it comes time to hire someone, that you will certainly try to find someone that will come along and not only do the world's greatest job working on your staff, but that they will also help your staff begin to be diversified. And then we have the fourth thing on those 5 stars is that people would serve as an intern, that you would be willing to host an intern, because it's our theories, it's more than a theory, it's my belief, it's my conviction, that if you would be willing to host a person of color as an intern, which means you don't have to pay them much, just find them a place to stay, usually get them when they're young, out of college, they're hungry just to learn, and if you would just bring on an intern at your church, it's my belief at the end of that internship that young person will so prove themselves that you'll end up wanting to hire them. And so that's why we say, would you be willing to host an intern? The last thing of the 5 is that, would you be willing to set some money aside? Suppose you don't want to do anything except maybe you have some resources to set aside to help young people who would like to go to Bible college, yet they can't afford to go. Would you help set aside some scholarship money to make sure that happens? So those are the 5 things. I think any church, any organization, you can diversify by changing the look and the color of your platform, making sure your curriculum is on board and diverse in its appearance. Try to hire out in your staff or your board, diversify that. Also, again, be willing to host an intern or put some scholarship money aside. That will go a long ways in getting your church set off in the right direction. I just want to close with this, that the church in the book of Acts, Acts 1 and 2, it started with, the Bible says, from Jews from every nation in the world had gathered together in Jerusalem. We also see that on the last day in Revelation 7, that when we get to heaven, that there's going to be people of every tribe and every tongue, every nationality will be represented. And what I believe is that church, when we have church and God has placed that entity in our hands, one of our main purposes of church is to actually prepare people for that moment when we're in heaven. I mean, we're introducing them to Jesus, so we want to teach them how to worship so that when they get there, man, they will be worshiping the Lord with all of their heart. And yet I also believe that when we get there, there's going to be people of every nationality. We've got to get people used to that right now. I've often thought that there's going to be a lot of people surprised, that they're used to worshiping with people of all the same color. They get up to heaven, they're going to go, who are all these people? Well, we need to be preparing them right here and right now. And instead of the church lagging behind in every other area of the world, from Hollywood, politics, the athletic world, the media, education, every entity is diverse except the church. We're lagging behind, and instead of lagging, I believe we should be setting the example for all the other entities. We should say, hey, follow our example, the example of the church. Let us show you how to be diverse and how to love everyone and to accept everyone and to bring everyone into the fold and to empower and to lead and to work together. I believe if we do that, I believe the great days of our church are before us. I believe God will bless that. He will bless that attitude. He will bless that unity. And so I hope you'll join us and begin to make a difference.